It sounds like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who left the game early last night, that's a big strain on a defense. He played a minute 50, I think, last night. A guy goes out that early in the game, and Detroit can move, and Detroit has now beaten them 4 times this year. Detroit's 4-0 against the Leafs. But Ekman-Larsson likely won't play tomorrow, and it sounds like Brandon Carlo, according to Chris Johnston, is also nicked up and may not play tomorrow. So Tanev, we know, isn't playing. Willie's not playing. And if Ekman-Larsson and Carlo are out, Matthew Knies is at 50%.
Yes.
That's what he looks like to me. He can't move. He's really he's struggling out there. He's trying. I credit him because he's battling and he's playing and they need him. But that's a lot of important pieces that could be out of the lineup with Vegas in town tomorrow night.
What do you think? It's happening all around the league. Obviously, Toronto's getting hammered right now, but when you have this schedule, this is inevitable. You got any kind of veteran presence on your team every other night, back-to-backs, basically once a week. You're going to have guys go down like this. But we've talked about Toronto's depth all year. How are they going to recover? How are they going to win games with this roster that they're going to potentially
goaltending and goal scoring?
Yeah, but
you're asking a lot out of 34 and 60.
Yeah.
But he tweeted out last night. It almost seems, I don't know how you phrased it, but we're venturing into unreasonable term, asking Joseph Woll and Austin Matthews to step up in these moments and kind of carry the load.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
I thought Matthews was really good again last night.
He was.
Tons of opportunities and chances, and you can feel it with Willie not playing and Knies at, whatever it is, 50, 60, 70%. Tavares needs the Olympic break. I think
Big
John,
time.
And this happens to him. I bet you down the stretch, Tavares will be awesome. I'll bet you he comes out of the Olympic break flying. You give him a break, his body resets. I expect big things out of him down the stretch, and I think he'll supply them. Last night was another example without Marner. I know we're 50 games into not having him, but it's a scenario where he could have broken the game open in the third period. It's a little bit close. It's 1-1. Maybe he makes a play, but it's Matthews flying. The other guys are trying to keep up, and Frankie, I think it's Joseph Woll and Hildeby and maybe Stolarz when he returns. Stolarz the savior. It could be a savior scenario for Stolarz.
But last night's game, for the most part, I thought they generated some pretty good chances. Mm-hmm. John Gibson has been one of the best goalies in the NHL basically since December 1st. And Detroit, wouldn't you know it, best team in the NHL since December 1st. It's funny how those two things kind of coincide. Goaltender's going to have to steal you a few. At least Austin Matthews is playing better now, and it looks like he's more like himself. But yeah, you're asking a lot right now. But the chances were there last night. I didn't think that was a dull performance by them. I thought Gibson had to make a lot of really quality saves. And if that's not Gibson in net, if that's someone else who's having a bad night, that's probably two more, an extra point in the bank. But It's not. And now it's like Hayes, all those games early in the season that they squandered away, well, this is when push comes to shove, chips are down. You would have liked to have a little more currency in the bank at that point.
Yeah, this is what I think we've all been anticipating. The first 20 games, they had a really soft schedule, playing, teams that were inferior teams, a lot of home games, and they just didn't take advantage of that. And now it's, Vegas, Colorado, Buffalo. You got to go through Edmonton coming up, and they got 7 games until the break. They've got to basically survive up between now and the break. You've got to be – we've been talking about this for it feels like at least a month. I think at the break you got to be within 2 or 3 points. If you're within 2 or 3 points of the playoffs, then you're in the race down the stretch. You're going to have to get hot. You're still going to have to rely on the same guys. The goaltending is going to have to be great down the stretch. It's going to have to be. I would presume Stolarz will return by then. If Stolarz and Woll get a good break and their bodies are fresh, hopefully the two of them can coincide and get on a heater and you can get in.
How many tilts are left before the break? 10?
7.
Got 7 games.
7 games,
yeah,
and that includes the Western swing. So you got Vegas tomorrow, Colorado Sunday, Buffalo Tuesday, and then you go out to Seattle, Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton. So you've got winnable games there, like Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, winnable games, Edmonton's going to be tough, but it'll be the last game before the break, and there'll be a lot of emotion, and it's always a built-up game. It's a fun game to play.
There's also a lot of private birds at the airport.
A lot of private birds.
Both ways, though. Everyone's got like 1 foot out the door in that game. That's a weird one, man.